104.7 FM, the voice and face of the region. I'm Jim Dedelow, host of JED in the region. We're on AM and FM, and we're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube in videos, and also on the TuneIn app if you want to listen somewhere. So trying to get you guys wherever you're going, but mostly on your phone. And hopefully it's working out for you. And once in a while, I just kind of, come in a little bit later, and I did that today, just kind of laying around. I was up late. I got caught in, I'm watching all the Homeland series, and I just couldn't put it down. Next thing I look up, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, let Ryan do that first half hour, and then I'll come on in. We were just listening before we came on for the video portion here to the goodbye of Joe McConnell. Joe McConnell was the voice of Purdue football for a long time, and he also did Northwestern for a while. He also did the Bears for a while. He did, I think, the Denver Broncos. He was all over the place, but I think later in his life, and I don't know if this is where he was from, but he lived in Rensselaer, and back in 08, 07, 09, I would interview him every year. I guess we haven't done that with Tim Newton, you know? I just haven't gotten around to doing that, or maybe we should. But Joe McConnell passed just a few days ago. Also in the Purdue family, as you guys well know, Matt Bush passed at the age of 62. Matt was the head basketball coach over here at Purdue Northwest. And, so, you know what? It's just kind of some death kind of moving through the system here, both up here and down there in terms of athletics and friends of the program and so forth. So, every time I interviewed the guy, I always got the feeling that he was one of us. You know what I mean? It wasn't overly, didn't really take himself too seriously also. I do remember listening once right near the end of his career, and he was doing a game, and it was a hot day, and he kind of had just couldn't take the heat, and he had to leave, and Tim Newton stepped in and did the game by himself. I think Rob Blackman might have come in and sat with him for a little while. But, he just kind of shouldered through it. Hey, let's take a look at what's going on around everywhere. Let's take a look at traffic. 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west looks good to Bishop Ford. A little bit tight from 111th to 103rd. And then again from, say, 87th to 55th. And typically that doesn't get better as it goes along here up until 7 or so. So we'll keep a tight eye on it. But right now, if you were to hit the Bishop Ford and Dan Ryan, you should be okay. Skyway and the toll road look pretty good. 80 going east and west look good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan are all moving along pretty doggone well. All right, let me fix some of this stuff here. And there it is. Traffic brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda, proudly serving Northwest Indiana with superior customer service. Let's take a look at what's happening in the weather. Just a lot better than we have been having. Yesterday was just a delight in the afternoon for a long time. I even got out and rode my bike yesterday afternoon. Beautiful sunset around Wicker Park. I was the only person I saw riding my bike, and I saw one other walker right at sunset because it was pretty cold, but it was beautiful. And it should be a pretty beautiful day today. A high of 63, partly sunny and breezy. But like most days anymore, it starts out pretty cold. It's 36, 35 degrees here at the Strachan Van Til Studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest. And so if it's 35 and going up to 63, it's going to get pretty warm pretty quickly throughout the day. Personally, I left the coat in the car, walked in with a sweater, and plan on walking around in a sweater all day. I'm hoping that's enough. Tomorrow, nice with clouds and sun and a high of 70. And then by Friday, cloudy, a thunderstorm and breezy and a high of 70. And then it gets quite a bit colder and rainier over the weekend as a high of 56 on Saturday and a high of 43 on Sunday. So good morning. How are you? It's your sunrise is in just about 11 minutes, or in about 9 minutes at 6:17. And that sunset is at 7:26. You realize the days, because the weather was so crappy, the days just kept getting longer and longer, but it really didn't matter because the whole time it was just gray and rainy or snowy. Then you really don't care when the sun's coming up or when it's going down. But last night I didn't realize it. I went for that ride at, say, 7 o'clock, and I'm like, gosh, it's got to be, sun's got to be going down, and I had sunlight almost the entire ride up until right near the end. And let's see, weather is brought to you by Labor's Local 41, of which I am a proud alum. We have a lot of stuff to get to today, but Ryan, do I have any guests today? And we've got this thing where they don't tell me who's coming in anymore, and it just works that way. And somebody says, hey, Jed, can I get on your show? And I'm like, yeah, you probably could. We got to talk to Ryan because I don't have anything to do with that. It just works better if I just show up and it's all new to me. You know what I mean? So Ryan will tell us who we have. But for now, you guys got something on your mind, 219-845-1100. Here locally, did anybody go to the sheriff's debate yesterday at IUN? I'd love to hear from you at 219-845-1100. I had some texts from some folks that went over there, and from two different folks. Verley was one of them. Evidently, Betty Dominguez got into it with a couple of people there, so she's being pretty feisty on these things. And, I'm starting to think about what I should do with this sheriff's race so that you guys could get to know the candidates. And we just haven't quite come up with the solution yet, but we will. And, we get, I think Dowling buys a show and Martinez buys a show. And I think a couple other sheriff's candidates are looking at our wares here. So I don't know if that's going to be enough, but I think it's a pretty important election, and we should have Ryan, who are these? These are Attorney General Curtis Hill, and then I have Blake's Nut Free. Are they local people, or are they around here? Or are they? Yeah, no. The Blake's Nut Free is a venture capital company that we're going to have on. All right. So let's take a look first at what is happening on the national scene, and what happened yesterday is just kind of hard to describe. Well, first of all, let's look at Facebook. Under fire for the worst privacy debacle in his company's history, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg batted away often aggressive questioning from lawmakers, accused him of failing to protect the personal information of millions of Americans. All right, I'll get to that in just a second. See how Mark's been doing. Mark, what's on your mind?
This is what's on my mind. I'm calling you professionally. My condolences. I feel your loss as an undertaker since the mid-'80s. You're my age, so who passed away? The Purdue coach?
The Purdue Northwest basketball coach by the name of Matt Bush.
There's so many Chicago legends here in Lake County. They're part of Chicago, so that's what a lot of people don't understand about people that live in Lake County, and we're just like a center of all the Midwest. Everything comes through here. So I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah, the Purdue family is certainly feeling.
I'm a Phi Sigma Kappa, Purdue.
Oh, really? Well, way to go.
1983. I'm still in school.
No.
A college, and I'm proud of you that you're on the Purdue campus, a ranked school. These schools are not easy to go to, and I'm proud of being a commuter Purdue IU student. It's a different experience, and a lot of people like to, and I don't. We work for what we get here. I don't like putting salts on the wounds to the other Midwesterners or people from down south or in California. They got it pretty easy, okay? There's some pretty rough dudes out there in, say, like Minnesota or Boston, but here in Chicago, we're a pretty rough crowd. But I like the way things are going with you and Facebook, and look at who's on there right now. Zuckerberg. That's crazy, isn't it, Jim?
It is crazy. Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about that.
Good. He I'd like to hear your input, and then you have such an intelligent crowd surrounding you. Good for you. They keep you in line.
Well, they're both shaking their head right now, so They're agreeing with you. All right, Mark. Have a good day. Anything special you're doing today?
No, I'm chilling out. My uncle Carmelo passed away, Puerto Rican. I had 2 Puerto Rican uncles. I have no more Puerto Rican. My cousins are from Chicago, from the neighborhoods. So
you got Puerto Rican uncles? Do you have any like Serbian?
Spanish, Mexican, and Yoki. I'm a Mexican, but my dad says my dad's more Spaniard than I am. He said, just tell everybody you're a Mexican. It makes it simple. I go, can I mention that I had a Jewish grandmother? Yeah, but you're Mexican and you're a Roman Catholic, so I belong to that crowd.
All right. Well, hey, Mark, thanks for calling in. You got an interesting story there.
Yeah, and we know your family. All those Mexicans, they all know each other. I'm just looking out for you, that's all, Jim.
You got it, man. Thanks.
I hope I cheered you up. Man, it sucks grieving. I know. I picked that, but I do other things. I'm trading now electronically, so I'm starting with little or no money. You could do it, so I'm a guinea pig. But it's a rough crowd here in Lake County.
All right, Mark, thanks a lot, buddy. I want to hear about your trading career one time. We'll talk to you. Hey, guys, 614 in the Calumet region, and he does bring up the Facebook situation. And how did you guys think that Mark Zuckerberg handled himself yesterday? As during some 5 hours of Senate questioning yesterday, Zuckerberg took the questions, and some of them, the AP is right. Some of them were pretty direct. Zuckerberg said he was working with special counsel Robert Mueller in the federal probe of Russian election interference and said it was working hard to change its own operations after the harvesting of users' private data by a data mining company affiliated with Donald Trump's campaign. Seemingly unimpressed, Republican Senator John Thune of South Dakota said Zuckerberg's company had a 14-year history of apologizing for ill-advised decisions relating to user privacy. How is today's apology different? We have made a lot of mistakes in running the company. So I think ultimately what is at stake is finally Zuckerberg is having to take some responsibility for the content that goes onto Facebook. And that is really, I don't want to say about time, because here at radio, we are, at any time, we are basically held responsible for what goes on these airwaves. And we have to get a license, and we have to pay for that license. We have to maintain an emergency broadcasting system. We have all sorts of restrictions put on our content, which you have to do certain things in the community for so many hours a week. You have to have certain kind of programming. If you're going to have a politician on or somebody running for office, there's reams of paperwork you have to fill out and abide by. And Facebook has to do none of that. And what they're trying to do is not have to do what we have to do here in radio. So I just wonder if any of these people are going to wake up and go, hey, now listen, there's more testimony today. And the only real question is, Mr. Zuckerberg, are you responsible for that content or not? And if you are, then perhaps you should have the same regulations that radio has. There it is. Why don't we do that? Oh, well, we don't really need to have a license. We don't really need to pay to be able to use, to go into people's homes or to people's businesses. We don't really need to do that. Or, we really don't need to have any emergency system that is regulated by the FCC. We don't really need to be told that we can't have profanity, or we can't have we can't be biased towards one candidate or another. We don't really want any of that. So just let's not do that. My theory from the beginning is that Facebook and the social media sites certainly are not a superior way of communicating versus, say, over-the-air radio, but certainly an improvement on much of what we can do, and that there's much more interaction. But the true advantage is that you are working in an area that is unregulated or mostly unregulated, and we are working in an area that is mature industries that have been regulated for generations. I just hope it comes out today, because none of that came out yesterday, because I got the feeling that none of these people asking these questions really knew what they were talking about. By the way, I'm going to a conference next month in New York City on some of this stuff, so I will I'll have some more to talk about there. And anyways, anybody has any comments on that? What is going to come out of the Facebook thing? I don't know. I just hope that what comes out of it is that we can't be two things. We can't be manipulated without us knowing it, as we were with the 2016 election in America. Many of us are understanding that there was a massive effort to control the outcome of that election, and perhaps it worked. And then the second part is the Facebook has to be honest of the business that they're in, and they're basically in the business of your and my personal data. And what are you going to do with that? And they're using it personally to pinpoint us with ads, and they're obviously we're allowing other people to just come in and take all of our information. And it's a bad situation, really. And it's also kind of a bad situation at the national scene, as it looks as if Donald Trump has a whole bunch of people kind of cooperating with Mueller in the investigation against him. There is some very good merit in the argument that what was supposed to be an investigation into if Russia was meddling in the 2016 election has turned into this wide-sweeping investigation of almost everything Trump, has ever done. And I know that the law enforcement line is, oh, well, if you see a crime, you have to go after it. Well, you know what? Who wants to take a job where you're under perpetual investigation? Oh, Lake County politician. That's one other one. If you really think about it, really after the Bunsich trial, it came out that the federal investigators had a guy undercover going after him for 4.5 years. They caught him and put him in jail for 15 years, 8 months. So, it was worth it, I guess, right? But it also is a sign of how deep the investigations are going on of elected officials around here. And kind of we're seeing that at the national level now. It's just everything you're doing is under investigation because there might be a crime. And there are conservatives right now that are kind of pushing back, like, really? I mean, what do you put a guy in there and then you put a special investigator and he just goes everywhere? And everything the guy's ever done, included, taking a porn star and, going out on a dalliance while his wife is pregnant. Nobody likes that, but how did that? Then they paid her off, and then how did they do that? And was there bank fraud against Mr. Cohen? And now you're going into, is it a campaign finance thing? You guys got to realize, think about it. John Bunsich was found guilty of bribery and some other things. I forget exactly what the counts are. And after you watched that trial, you're like, wow, why did you do that, man? That was that was perhaps the stupidest thing I've ever seen an elected official do around here. And we got a lot of stupid, right? So, but when it boils down to it, if Bunsich had taken money from tow truck operators and put it down on his campaign finance report, the whole story would have been an entirely different storyline. You could have made a case still that he took the campaign money and that he was giving preferential treatment to tow truck operators, but that's kind of wink and a nod stuff, because who donates to campaigns of local or state officials but people who are kind of doing business with the state and the locals? And so it's kind of accepted that that's how that system works. But if he had written it down as a campaign finance, he wouldn't have gone to jail for 1,000, a year for every 1,000, really. 15 years for 15,000 in that area. So if you apply that same thing to Trump and Cohen may have paid off Stormy Daniels, the porn star, but was that some sort of a donation to the campaign? Was it money that was put forth in furtherance of getting Donald Trump elected? And if it is, how different is that from the Buncich situation? There are differences, but in the end, it's a lot more money than the 15 grand that Buncich took over 4.5 years. I'm not legitimizing what Buncich did, or and I covered that story and I covered that trial at length. But when I'm watching this at nighttime, I'm like, God, how is it different? You know what I mean? I'm just like projecting a trial someday where they're saying Cohen gave the Trump campaign $130,000 by paying off Stormy Daniels, and nobody reported it. And that is a big deal. I mean, that's like the number one thing you can't do in campaigns. All right. Anyways, you know what? We've lived this. We've learned the campaign problems. You better write it down, man, if somebody gives you some money. You know what I mean? All right, 219-845-1100. I do have some phone calls. And Dan, the computer man, how you been, man?
Hey, how's it going? I was laughing for quite some time when, we got a lot of stupid here. So I appreciate that morning pick me up.
Dan, you and I have talked before, and I get the feeling that we have at least on this one level, that no matter how you think about Lake County and all of our elected officials over the years, there's at least some entertainment in all of it.
Oh, yeah. It's like watching Roseanne. Every 20 years, it just rolls over again. You know?
Hey, do you watch her show?
I taped it yesterday.
You know,
I took Emily. We were working out, so I'll watch it tonight.
For some reason, and I just watched one episode, for some reason, she is more palatable to me now that she's older than when she was younger. I hated that show. I didn't like her.
We watched it, before, and I remember it being funny, and but then I'm a sarcastic person, so it really hit home, So it's pretty good.
Facebook. Goodman is good. All right, talk about Facebook.
So now I know a couple history teachers, but we need some history teachers and professors to go back in time and go and do research back in time. The AM radio, when it came out, it was unregulated.
Yes.
And and I am sure we can go back. There has to be articles about how Jimmy got on the radio and broadcast AM about a different politician and really swayed the election. Now, we don't know about it because it's the mass media today. We know about everybody's election, So somewhere this happened before, and we've learned from it. Now, we had our eyes shut thinking about Facebook as a media outlet. It was just social media. Oh, yeah, let's take some pictures. And then as you start to do your videos and you start to do your broadcasts, it starts to click in a lot of heads. Hey, this is really a media output. We can use this to reach more people. And as a media company, you took advantage of that. You started with the videos and you started with the podcast. Do those have to be regulated? So as these media outlets develop, we as a people realize that, wow, this can really impact people. Do we need to watch it? And I think they just missed the mark with Facebook. They didn't realize the impact it could have. But I'm sure we as a nation or whatever, as a people, we went through this with the radio. We went through this with TV. When TV started broadcasting, they didn't say, well, you can't show this and you can't show this. I'm sure someone let something flip, and it's like, oh, my God, we have to watch what we're doing on this thing. We're reaching everybody. So it's just a growth. I mean, it's today it's Facebook. Yesterday it was TV. And so here's what happened. Here's a good comparison. TV is regulated. 257, 932, 44 if you tipped your TV sideways. And then came cable. And why did people get cable? Because you could swear on cable. Because on cable you could do things. Why do we have why is Howard Stern on satellite radio?
He can do whatever he wants.
Exactly.
It was way too restricting to him to be on terrestrial radio.
Correct. And now, does everybody shift their media outlet to satellite radio? Now, that's a paid subscription, so your audience is going to be less.
Not always, but you see, here's the thing. And that's fine. I mean, not every satellite radio station swears and does lewd things like Howard Stern, right? In other words, they do whatever they want. Most of them, almost all satellite radio stations are listenable without the lewdness, okay? There are maybe, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's low. So people really have the option. My point on all of this, Dan, from the beginning was just let me choose. Why is somebody telling me what should be on these airwaves? Okay, yeah, you can, because the federal government can do whatever it wants, and we are the federal government. But let me police it. I mean, I'll do a decent job, put it in my hands, and then I will be more competitive. I won't have to do as many. I won't have to fill out as many forms. Just let me be, and I'll let the market and local owners police their own radio stations. Just, that's all you got to do instead of having reams of regulation. And since Facebook and cable have none of those regulations, they have a competitive advantage, and they always will.
Yeah, they have the wild card.
Yeah. So, hey, man, here's the thing. I'll put it out. If anybody out there has any information about the early days of how regulation came on, because that was not discussed yesterday. It's not like we have a roadmap. Mr. Zuckerberg, this happened in the 1930s, and here's how America dealt with it. Okay?
You should run for Congress.
Stop. You know what? I'll just put it out there. Once they start looking at my Berkeley days and stuff, I ain't going nowhere. All right, man. I'll talk to you. I gotta go. All right, I gotta take Dave from Crown Point. Dave, how you been?
Good. How you been, bud?
Oh, this is that Dave from Crown Point. You haven't called me in a while.
I've been busy.
What have you been doing?
Working.
What kind of work do you do? You don't have to say who you work for.
Get out.
Come on.
I'm an operator.
All right, so go ahead.
How about that? Yeah, I watched a little bit of that testimony, the Zuckerberg testimony yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought it was comical. I don't know which senator it was, but he was making a statement, and I'm paraphrasing, something to the effect that he says to Zuckerberg, if you and the rest of these social media site operators don't get your act together, nobody will have any privacy in the future. Isn't that kind of an oxymoron? Isn't that what social media, for the most part, is all about anyways, is people putting their personal information out there anyways? I got a little humor out of that.
You know what? I saw a highlight of that. I can't remember. I saw several highlights of his testimony, and that was one of them. And most of what these senators were saying really revealed how little they know of exactly what's going on in terms of social media. And it was just like that was like a Lake County comedy show in a way.
Written by the Onion. But hey, let's bring it back to Lake County. I got a question for you. A few minutes ago, you had made the comment that you were trying to find a way to get some of these sheriff's candidates in to basically let us know what they're all about and so on and so forth. And you had mentioned that some of the current candidates, like Dowling and Martinez, are already buying airtime to do just that during this campaign season. I just want to clarify, when Oscar Martinez is he on as the sheriff's show, or is he buying airtime as the candidate?
No, he's on for the sheriff's show. Yeah, that's the standard sheriff's show that's been for a long time. He has a not talking campaign here, no.
I just want to clarify, because you specifically said some of the candidates are already buying airtime to come on and outline who they are and explain to us what they do. And to my best recollection, the 30 times that Oscar Martinez has been on in the last 2 days, none of those programs were paid for by the committee to retain Oscar Martinez.
No, he comes on as the sheriffs have for a long time, and I think a couple of times he hasn't even come on. It's just been the sheriff's department people. I mean, that's the standard thing. My question is this: is there, with so few people voting, and very, if you really look around, if you add it up, it's probably 1 out of 10 people driving around on the roads next to you. Is it really that necessary for me to go out of my way to make sure that I bring in candidates and show them and make sure that I point them out? Well, here they are. You want to hear them and interview them? If that few people care, why should I care?
If you're going to prop yourself up as a journalist here in Northwest Indiana, I think you do have an obligation to your listeners.
So I have an obligation to the 10% of people driving around Lake County right now, because it's they're going to have about 16 to 18% of registered voters, and then a lot of people aren't even registered. So I mean, what is it? Maybe 12%. So 1 out of 9 people driving around. Is there an obligation to educate those 1 out of 9 people? The other 8 don't care. They're not voting.
I think you know my position on this, and that which you just explained feeds into the biggest issue we have here in Lake County, and that's corruption. As long as we continue to have 13% or less turnout, a guy like Oscar Martinez, who's been caucused in as sheriff, will now get reelected because the patronage vote will support him here in a Democratic Lake County. But with that being said, to the original point, you being probably one of 2 of the largest radio media sources here in Lake County, I think you do have an obligation to get the word out.
No, I appreciate that input, but once again, the other side of that is that the market tells you what it wants, and if there's only 1 out of 9 people driving around that are going to vote in this primary election, then when I bring a candidate on, it's really for those 1 out of 9 people. What about the 8 of the 9 people that have already shown that they don't care that much to go and vote in these elections? I don't know if that's I don't know if I mean, how low does it go? What if it's 1 out of 50 people that are voting, and I've got to bring candidates on just for those 1 or 50 people? I don't know if that's my responsibility. I appreciate your opinion. You say it is, but I don't know how far I'm going to go anymore if that few people vote. All right, man, I got to go. Thanks a lot. Hey, I'll be right back. AM 1230 WJOB. And
for Democrat Andrew Silvestrowitz for Lake County Clerk.
All right, sorry about that. These things I have to start right and play from start to finish, or you get in trouble there, so I didn't have my mic up there. So I'll be right back on the voice and face of the region.
Fill your garage with your dream car during the Honda Dream Garage Spring event going on now at Napleton's River Oaks Honda. They're Northwest Indiana's destination for new and certified pre-owned Hondas. Napleton's River Oaks Honda has a huge selection of brand new and certified pre-owned Civics, Accords, CRVs, and Pilots. Come find out why you always get our best deal at River Oaks Honda. As always, Indiana residents pay Indiana sales tax right off 8094 on Torrance Avenue or online at riveroakshonda.com.
Napleton, second to none since 1931.
On May 8th, vote for Democrat Andrew Silvestrowitz for Lake County Clerk of Circuit Courts. Andrew is a qualified Democrat and has 12 years of experience as a councilman in Maryville at every facet of government. Make your vote count with Andrew Silvestrowitz for Clerk of Circuit Courts. Paid for by Committee to Elect Democrat Andrew Silvestrowitz.
I am Andrew Silvestrowitz, and I approve this message.
From the Strachan Van Til Studios, your local Strachan Van Til has some great products on sale this week. Here's a few items you might want to add to your shopping list. Certified Angus beef boneless New York strip steaks, $6.99 a pound. 4-pound bag of California seedless oranges, 2 for $5. 12-ounce 24 packs of Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper, select varieties, $5.99 each when you buy 2. Limit 2 offers. Strachan Van Til, proud to be Indiana made and dedicated to being Indiana's grocery store.
John Salzader, Democratic candidate for North Township Advisory Board. You have heard me on these airways before talking about my family charity, its events, and the groups it supports. Now I've decided to run for your North Township Board. I am well qualified and ready to work for you. Elect John Salzader.
Approved and paid for by the committee to elect John Salzader.
Hey, what's going on, Ryan? I had coffee in that yesterday. That's horrible. Oh, Ryan made me some tea. I had yesterday stole Joey Battistoni's coffee. By the way, anybody want to rappel off of the Centier Bank building? All you got to do is go over by the Lake Area United Way or a Centier Bank location or the Times, and you can sign up and rappel. All you got to do is raise $1,000, and then you'll get your license to rappel. They want me to do it. I just don't know if I want to rappel off of the Centier Bank building. I have never rappelled before. You know that? I've gone to like those wall climbing things where you climb up, and that's kind of cool. But is anybody a repeller? A rappeller, not. I think they say it rappel, not rappel or rapel or rappel. Yeah, rappel, whatever. Anyways, I had those folks on yesterday, and that was very interesting. And I had Anthony and two Italian guys and Lisa Doherty were in here. Hey, what's going on in terms of traffic? 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, as we predicted, got worse. Basically, from let's say 120th on up through the merge, it's bad. And then the southern end of the Dan Ryan's tight. So red lights and a garbage dump when you come up on the steel bridge, and it kind of stays red lights in front of you all the way up through the southern end of the Dan Ryan. So I'll put out a watch to Bishop Ford right now. Skyway Toll Road, Barman, I-65, US 30, Klein Avenue are all moving along pretty well. And that is brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda, proudly serving Northwest Indiana from the Torrance Avenue location. Remember, you pay Indiana sales tax at Napleton River Oaks Honda if you're from Indiana. What do you have in terms of the weather? High of 63 today, but it certainly doesn't feel like that right now. It's 35 degrees here at the Strachan Van Til Studios. Hey, by the way, the new flyer came out today. Let me see. Catfish fillets. God, I haven't made catfish in a while. Can you grill catfish? Typically, I only really grill salmon. Somebody call me and tell me, all right, if I was going to grill catfish, are there any tricks to it? Now, I know you can buy one of those wooden planks and put it on the grill, but I haven't had real good luck with that. The thing burns up, and maybe I've just bought too cheap of planks. But I love catfish, and I love grilled fish. I just have never done catfish fillets on there. But anyways, they're only $4.98 a pound right now, so now would be a good time to do that at Strachan Van Til's. Also, you can get 10-piece dark hand-breaded fried or grilled chicken, $5 each. 10 pieces of dark meat for $5. And red seedless grapes are right now $1.49 a pound. It's Strachan Van Til's, Indiana made. And so anyways, a high of 63 today, partly sunny and breezy. Tomorrow, nice with clouds and sun and a high of 70. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it gets kind of rainy as it gets back to normal. As you get a high of 70, a cloudy, and a thunderstorm and breezy on Friday, and a high of 70. So you and I have some time. We've got another 40 minutes together. What's on your guys' mind? There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on here locally, and I'll run through that. But you know what? I'll just go to the phone lines right now. Let's see what Mad Mac has to say. Mad Mac, how are you?
Good, Jimmy. How you doing?
Hey, just sitting here watching the region go round and round.
There you go. Hey, listen, when you cook the catfish on the grill, you can't just grab a piece of plywood out of the dumpster in your garage, all right? You got to get a piece of, I think it's cedar, and then you soak it in water and put it on. But just save yourself the effort. Put it on a piece of foil. Works better.
Yeah, well, then you might as well just fry it if you're going to put it on a piece of foil. I want that feeling that it was charred on the grill. You know what I mean? If you let me finish, I'm a professional griller, Jimmy. I'm sure you are.
Oh, dude, listen, can't even tell you.
Okay,
just put it on foil. You flip it, and then once it's a little firm, you can throw it onto the grill part. But you use a gas grill, anyways, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's like an outdoor stove. So I mean, I don't know what the point of that thing is. You got to have a charcoal grill, bro, with some wood chips. Takes effort, but the taste is unbelievable.
Okay, but here's the problem.
I mean, you can just take that thing to the dumpster. That thing's worthless.
You put a piece of catfish on there, a piece of halibut, and you try to grill it. And, I watch the YouTube videos, and they say if you're going to grill these fish that don't hold together as well, like you put a piece of salmon on there, and it's just going to hold together, and you can grill it pretty easily. But if you put these other ones, I mean, tilapia will fall apart as you're putting it on there. So when I grill these other fish, they all fall apart, and sometimes even fall through the grill part into the fire. And I don't know. I mean, and I don't like.
Well, they've got those mesh things. They're like little, they're two pieces of mesh that fold together, so they make like a sleeve type thing almost. You put the fish in there, and then you can turn it.
They do. I've never seen one of those.
Get out to Walmart like rest of America. They got about 100,000 of them hanging on the shelf.
You know what? That's a good idea. You know what? Because that's what happens.
Professional griller. I just told you, brother.
So if the fish falls apart inside this little cage, no big deal. You just dump it on your plate.
Yeah, it won't fall apart though if you buy the right one, because it will hold the fish. It'll hold the fish kind of like a glove. It's like taking two pieces of screen and sealing the thing inside the screen, and then you set that little device on the grill. And then you flip it, you slap just a touch of like little olive oil and a little seasoning on there. Flip it a few times. But you got to take the gas grill and just put that on the curb, brother, because that thing's useless. You got to get a charcoal grill. You'll have food that never tasted so good in your entire life. I promise you. If it doesn't work, I'll buy you the grill, okay?
Grilling tips with Mad Mac and Jed. All right, what's on your mind?
That's right. So listen, if Facebook is I don't understand your attitude regarding this over governmental regulation. You find it so intrusive on your radio business. Why would you wish to impose that on other people's business?
I just want an even playing field. And really, what I would like is that I would like a complete review of all of the regulation of radio. And then
that's why you got Donald Trump in there, brother, knocking down 15 regulations for everyone those morons in Congress come up with. But why don't you just flip this, just turn the radio off, like you said, and go to Facebook Live? It solves your problem right there.
Well, what I would really like is for people to be able to call in at any time, even when nobody's here, and just say what they want at any time. That's what I would like. And I could set that up technologically. I stopped messing around with the Hey JED app. And that is ultimately my point, is that, all right, anybody could go on Facebook and say whatever they want. And if it's really like, molestation or...
Actually, you can't say anything you want on Facebook. If I go on there and put dirty pictures, naked pictures of Obama up there, that stuff's cut off in an instant.
Yeah, but it appears...
women now.
Yeah, it appears...
You just can't put anything up there. I can't put naked pictures of myself on Facebook.
Hold on a second. Put it this way. The... range of what you can put on Facebook is quite a bit larger than what you could say on the radio. Okay?
True.
Okay, so my point is that those ranges need to be equal, and that's fine. I mean, all I want is to be able to regulate and make the decisions myself here. I don't even think anything would change, but I think that would make us a much more competitive. I'm telling you right now, one of the things that stops radio and television from expanding anywhere other than at the local level, at the extremely local level like WJOB and in many of these towns across America, local radio is going gangbusters right now, but they can't get any traction to really compete against these social media sites because of the regulation that holds us back. I really believe that if I just said, all right, this FM station we have, and I said, listen, I'm not going to do anything. Here's a number, call, say whatever you want. It goes right on the air. And if it's really bad, I'll take it down later. But if it's just a cuss word or something else, I don't have anything. I don't have any control over it. You just say what you want. That's what Facebook's all about.
It is called the public airways, though.
Yeah, but what is it? Is it the public? Is it the public internet? Is it public internet or no?
No, because you got to go pay for it. You can't. You don't get. Nobody gets the internet for free.
Oh, that's not true. Go to your library right now. Click.
Yeah, but the library pays for it.
But you're not paying for it. You're not
Well,
paying
sure,
for
I
it.
pay taxes.
Oh yeah,
What do you
but
think that-
so
what do you think
so
that
I'm
money
paying
falls out
for
the tree at the library.
I'm paying for the license to be on the public airwaves, so you're getting it for free. You're not paying for it, right? So you're not paying for it when you go. The actual user experience is you don't have to pay for it. Go to the library. Go down to over here to state institutions. I mean, you could get on the internet for nothing. Anybody
but
could.
You actually, someone's paying for that, though. The library's paying for it, and it's coming out of tax dollars, so someone's paying for it.
And does it go over anything that's publicly owned? Does the internet go over anything that we own as people? I mean, that's the argument. That is the argument.
Because it's a series of server farms primarily owned by Amazon and Google.
Okay.
Which are the backbone of the internet.
Okay, so that is the argument that is made. You're articulating the argument. You're saying, well, it's private. The internet is it inherently private when you can go to the library right now and go on for free? I don't think so, because that's the same as listening to the radio. And so there's a whole different set of regulations. When one day somebody will hear me and care, but nobody does. And I blog about it, I talk about it on the air, and most people just click because they're tired of hearing about it. But at one point, somebody is going to say, "Hey, listen, this guy's got a point. Why is radio so regulated? Why can't we just let Alexis and Jim Dedelow decide what goes on there, and maybe they'll take one of their radio stations and they won't decide anything. We'll just come up with it. All right, I gotta go. Maybe we'll just come up with an algorithm like Facebook and just say if you call in, it just goes right on the air. I don't have any control over it. Anyone can say whatever they want. That's what Facebook is, right? And of course, if you say something really libelous or slanderous, you gotta take it down. But look at Jackie Sutton. Look at the Jackie Sutton site with all that is on there, on the Facebook page. What would happen if Jackie Sutton called up and did that on these airwaves, right? Well, look at the difference. Anyways, nobody's talking about that. Nobody gives a rat's behind. But that's part of the problem. Is Facebook responsible for their content? Well, I am here, right? You know that. It's like, hey, can't say that. Oh, we gotta even, and we gotta go in a different direction. Oh, this person's saying that, and people call me up. Oh, this person said this on your radio station. Oh, and they're all mad about it. Why? People just talking. Anyways, don't get me started. Hey, let's see how Marine Pete's doing. What are you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you, Jed?
Were you at home? You out on Lake Michigan already, or what?
No. I just got stationed in South Carolina, Beaufort area.
Oh, really? How you like it?
Oh, we love it, man. We're sitting right now at 49 degrees. It's 7:50 in the morning, which is cold.
So when you move around, do you have a family or is it just you?
It's my wife, and then I just found out I'm having a baby in September. So
that's the first one?
That'll be my first baby, yep.
Ah, way to go, man. Oh, so you're going to have a military baby.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm going to have a little brat.
Oh, that's right. Well, congratulations, man. It's warming people's heart to hear that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so you were talking about rappelling. I've done some rappelling in my time in the Corps, and it's really not as hard as it looks. The first step is always the worst step. Other than that, you're just walking down the side of a building. You can do it. It's easy. They're going to teach you everything you need to know.
All right, tell me about that first step.
The first step is when you go from, your regular balance to just walking on, the earth with gravity, and now the gravity's coming on the other side of you, on the front side of you, right? So you got to learn to trust your rope. You've got to learn to kind of lean forward a little bit and plant feet correctly. So that first step is when you transfer from regular walking down to walking vertically, So that's what I mean. But the first step is hard. But once you get past that first step, you're just walking down backwards down the side of a building.
So how hard is it to get to learn how to use that rope basically to give you balance walking perpendicular to the building? You know
Not
what I
hard at all, because I know what you mean. There's going to be a guy at the bottom that's going to keep that line taut. So if it was loose, then yeah, you would have slack and you're going to be falling down and all that stuff. But they're going going to make sure your harness is good, and then there's going to be a guy at the bottom keeping it taut. You know what I mean? Like, so you're going to be secure. You just got to stand up. If you don't stand up, then you're going to slide down the mountain or slide down the building like nothing. But you keep your wits about you, keep your feet stable and underneath you, and you'll be fine.
So, all right, I mean, this is the question that has to be asked. You lose your balance and you're just hanging from this rope. I mean, what happens? I mean, you just zip right. You just basically go straight down, right?
No, the guy. So if you screw up somehow, the guy on the bottom is gonna hold that line there like an ornament on a Christmas tree until you figure out how to stand back up, or he, after they probably give you a try after try, then they're just gonna lower you down real slowly. So.
Okay, so there's some sort of a catch on the harness that will catch you so you don't just fall all the way down.
Definitely, yes.
So is it, I mean, can 56-year-old guys do this thing?
Yes, totally. 56-year-old guys can do it. 5-year-old kids can do it. Yes, easy.
All right, Marine Pete, for some reason, your voice is very calming. I'm going to give this a second thought.
Do it, man. When you have fear, just relax and remember what you're doing this for, and it's a confidence builder. It's a confidence builder. That's all it is. And when you get off that thing, you're gonna be on top of the world, Jed. You're gonna be able to tackle Facebook regulations all flipping day. You're gonna be great.
Leave it right there, Pete. Good hearing from you, buddy. Thanks a lot. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, man. Having a baby. A Marine brat. What would that be like, moving around and moving your family around and serving our country and basically putting the country before your own family? Anyways, let me think about it. Hey, let's see how Zubay's been doing. Zubay, how you doing? You ever rappel?
Oh, Jim. Really? Gas grill?
Yes, I do. I love that thing.
James Edward Dedelow. Is that a good guess at the middle name?
Yeah.
All right, let me walk you through. Let Dr. Zubay walk you through this for your catfish. You're going to want to buy your catfish fillets, preferably with the skin on, okay?
All right, skin on.
Now, I'm walking you through this as a gas grill. Now, you're going to get some heavy-duty aluminum foil, not that dollar store cheap stuff. You're gonna tear off about a nice, 2 to 3 foot section of that aluminum foil, and you're going to fold it in half. You're going to put just a tablespoon of olive oil on that tin foil, and you're going to lay your fillets skin side down on that olive oil. You're going to sprinkle a little bit of sea salt and a little bit of black pepper over it. You're going to chop up some white onion and some green bell pepper, and you're going to sprinkle it over that. You're going to put a sprig of thyme and a sprig of rosemary over that. And if you're a garlic guy, you can even throw in this little fresh garlic on there. And if you like a little heat, maybe a little crushed red pepper. And then you're going to squeeze about 2 lemon wedges over it. You're going to fold it up. You're going to make your aluminum foil pouch. You're going to set your grill where it's about 250, 275. And as soon as you throw that pouch on there, it'll be done in 10 minutes.
All right, so there's all sorts of questions I have here. First of all right, you fold it over the aluminum foil, so you kind of almost make like almost its own baking dish, okay?
Yeah.
And so then you put some stuff on there, some olive oil, and then you put all these seasonings on. And then you go 250 to 275. When I turn my gas grill on, it goes right to 600. So I need to turn it down. In other words, I've got to
You need to turn it down, and if for some reason you got your burners on the lowest flame, how many burners do you have on your gas grill?
6.
You might want to think about only lighting the first 2, and you could cook it in direct heat on the other side where the burners are off. See what I'm saying?
I do.
So the vessel wouldn't be right over the burners that are on. It would be off to the side where it would be the cooler side of the grill.
So when do you turn the catfish?
You don't. You don't have to.
Well, then
It's
how
gonna
do you
cook in
get?
that pouch? It's going to steam. You're getting the heat. It's like an oven. But now, if you want the grilled char flavor, like Mad Max said, and I'd like to throw this out there. I'd like to have a friendly challenge with Mr. Professional Griller Mad Mac, a little cook-off one of these days, preferably the week of 4th of July. I'm off. We can set something up outside the studio. But anyway, you do need wood chips. They have them in different flavors. You can get them usually $2 a 6-pound bag, and you're going to want to get one of those Baker's square pie tins. Throw a little bit in there, just a little bit of water, and you can put that on your. Do you have a second tier?
Yes,
grill
I do.
grate on your. Okay, you want to put the pie pan on the bottom tier over the burners that are on.
Why? What does that do?
Eventually, the wood chips will begin to smolder, and it'll give off the scent of the smoke, and you'll get that smoke flavor in your fish. Now, me, being a charcoal guy, I would light my coals and wait until they were almost completely burned out, where it would be about 250, 275, and I'd make my pouch with the fish in it, and I'd throw my wood chips over the coals, and I would lay my pouch right over on top of the coals. I would not put them on a grate. Like, you ever see how they, Dual Survival or all those shows where they cook stuff right on the embers?
Man, that's a lot.
Nah, you're just stop being lazy.
All right, so first of all, I got to quit buying the cheap aluminum foil. We got to start right there.
Yeah, that stuff is garbage. You get what you pay for. You paying $1 at the dollar store. That stuff, no.
All right, I'll tell you what. If I do this, I'll Facebook Live it, and I'll say we're going to go half Mad Max way and half Zubay's way. All right, man. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. Talk to you. All right, there you go. You got some grilling lessons. You don't learn you don't know this stuff about guys. Both Zubay and Mad Mac consider themselves master grillers. Be right back.
Hi, I'm Tom.
And I'm Michelle.
And we're the Tomfoolery Fun Club. We're pleased to announce that Tomfoolery will once again return to the majestic Hoosier Theater in Whiting, Indiana for a very special event.
The Fun Club will be back at the Hoosier for an evening of delightful comedy and some amazing live music.
That's right, Michelle. The incredible Mickey Housley headlines a most talented lineup card of top-flight comedians.
On the musical front, fan favorite Nomad Planets will be in the house to rock the night away.
Please join us on April 14th at the Hoosier Theater in Whiting for this incredible Fun Club night out.
For ticket information, please go to tomfooleryfunclub.com.
That's tomfooleryfunclub.com.
John Salzader, candidate for North Township Advisory Board. I am fully qualified, experienced, and will bring a new face and new vision to your township government. Elect John Salzader, SALZEIDER, on May 8th, Democrat.
Approved and paid for by the committee to elect John Salzider.
Ogren Insurance has been serving the area since 1947 and provides insurance for life, home, auto, business, and more. If you're looking for one-on-one service, the best rates, knowledge, and experience, Ogren Insurance is your agency. Our number one goal is to provide you with the coverage you need at the most competitive price. To learn about the insurance solutions and services we offer in Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan, call 219-933-0076 or see our website, ogreninsurance.com. Ogren Insurance, 6929 Holman Avenue in Hammond. Accidents happen. Be protected with Ogren Insurance.
Every once in a while, you need to add a little spice to the grill to, get the fish, just make it pop. And then every once in a while, you need to add a little sildenafil to your weekend.
Men, are you taking Viagra or Cialis for ED? ED should not stand for expensive drugs. If you're taking Viagra, talk with your doctor about sildenafil. Now you could get the same active ingredient in Viagra in generic 20 milligram tablets for less than $2 each, saving over $30 per dose. Available at Vito's Pharmacy. Call us 219-228-7200 or visit us at vitospharmacy.com.
Vito's Pharmacy.
Hey, knock knock 702 in the Calumet region. I'm Jim Dedelow, hanging out with you guys. We're just hanging out on a beautiful morning. It is still 35 degrees here at the Strachan Van Til Studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest. It is 36 degrees at Local 395 in Porter County and at Local 41, where I'm a proud alum of that fine union. It's 35 degrees in Munster. Going up, though, to a high of 63, it's going to be a gorgeous day. I'm looking at perhaps getting the bike out again and driving. It's really a nice ride. I noticed that along Riverside Park in Hammond, and along the, I guess that is in Schlacker, along the Little Calumet River. They put out down asphalt. I've probably ridden over it and not realized it, but for the longest time it was cinder. And when it got wet, sometimes it would turn into kind of like cinder mud and kind of like baby poop, and you get your tire caught in it. And now it's just flat asphalt. It's brand new asphalt. So it is truly a beautiful ride from, say, Holman in Hammond along the Little Calumet River all the way to Klein Avenue in Griffith Highland over there. And I could just tell, a lot of people do ride the trails, and they ride this kind of north-south trail from Hammond to Crown Point. You could go through Highland and Cherville on the Erie-Lackawanna Trail and just see hundreds of people on a warm evening like today. But I just got to tell you guys, don't forget about the Little Cal trails, man. I mean, it's just a beautiful east-west. Part of the problem yesterday is I drove out past Wicker Park on the trail going westbound, and I'm like, wow, this is really nice. And I turned around into like a 15, 20 mile an hour wind because it just didn't work out real well. Anyways, a high of 63 today. Tomorrow, a high of 70, nice with clouds and sun. And then on Friday, a high of 70, cloudy, thunderstorm, and breezy. And then by the weekend, it gets into the 50s or even the high 40s for your high, with mostly a lot of rainy days. So kind of enjoy it today and tomorrow. You got some rain coming our way. And what do you have in terms of traffic also? It's been a kind of a light day in traffic until just now. You have an accident on 294 at 87th. That's backing things all the way up to Cicero and beyond. So know that if you're going to O'Hare right now, it's not going to be a breeze. You've got a significant delay there for several miles, and hopefully get the accident out of the left lane and let cars go by. 80 going east and west looks good. The Bishop Ford's been a problem for a good 45 minutes now, as Steel Bridge all the way up until about 87th is pretty stop and go. So watch the Bishop Ford this time. Going into Jane Byrne isn't that bad right now. It's only 35th on in. That's bad. Skyway, Toll Road, Barman I-65 are all moving along well. Once again, every day, all day throughout the summer, you have Indianapolis Boulevard between Meyer and Webb Ford. Just two lanes, one in each direction, and that can back up at any time. And it just can be, once in a while, they actually close it for a couple. I was there one time when they closed it so they could move a piece of machinery in there, and that backed up very quickly. It was coming northbound, so it backed up all the way past Main Street, all the way up to Lowe's in a heartbeat. So if you're going through that area, I don't think you're going to breeze through. All right, guys, we have a lot going on, but Donald Trump is tweeting some amazing stuff right now, and he is basically goading Russia. And we're going to get to that in just a second, but let's see what Omar's doing today. Omar, how you doing?
All right, Jen, how you doing? I heard you were talking about rappelling. I've repelled a couple of times, and it's not that hard. They have the way that Marine was doing it, that's the military way. And I used to do rescue, so they have this gizmo that you go through, the rope goes through, and it has a handle, so you can stop yourself or go as far down as fast as you want. So it's pretty safe. It's pretty fun, though. Once you do it, you'll be wondering why you never did it before. It's not that bad.
Pete, who's in the Marines, obviously has to rappel and so forth.
Right.
And he talks about that, and it seems like when you're watching it that can't be that hard. You just kind of bounce off the side of the building, or you kind of walk bounce, almost moonwalking down. But as I've heard it described, it's that first step when you're just like, all right, I got to jump out. I guess you got to jump out so that you got room for your legs in there. And evidently that's not that easy.
Well, you take your time. When we did it, you take your time getting over the handrail, and when you felt safe enough or you felt at ease, it would take you about a minute or so you can get your footing right. Then you just grab that little handle and you let it loose, and you just rappel yourself down. But if you go too fast, if you go too fast, it'll automatically lock up, so you don't fall to the ground or whatnot. And it'll click, and then you got to click it to open it back up again, and then you just rappel yourself down. But yeah, it's the first step. It's like, I never parachuted before, but they say it's just like parachuting. Once you get past the first step, it's nothing really. And in fact, once you do it once, you want to do it again, because now you got the fear out of the way. You know what you're doing. So, but I did it. You said you're 56. I did it when I was like 56, 57. So, but you can do it. Believe me.
It's for charity, so I'm thinking about doing it. We had these guys on yesterday, and they're raising money for Lake Erie United Way, and they were, they're kind of, hey, it would help if you were doing it, and then people would know, and this and that. And I'm like, really? You want me to jump off the side of a building with a rope? Okay, let me think about this. Okay. I mean, I'm not risk averse. I do a lot of different crazy stuff over my lifetime. It's just jumping off the side of a building with a rope in my hand has not been one of them, and I've never considered it.
Well, if you're in your 20s, you wouldn't mind doing it, but now that we get a little older, we kind of realize, hey, wait a minute, what did I get myself into?
Exactly. All of a sudden, you're standing up way up on the tallest building in the region, and you're like, wow, what a great view. But now I got to jump off the side of this building. Now, can I just go back down on the elevator? All right, man. Thanks a lot, Omar. Right. Talk to you. Hey, let's see how Vinny's doing. Vinny, what's going on, man?
Hey, Jim. How you doing? First of all, I want to say my condolences to the junior hockey team that lost their lives on Friday night.
Oh, gosh.
I was watching the Penguin game. They broke in at the second mission. That's when they announced it. What hit home was a former Penguin player, Chris Joseph, who played from 1987 through 2006. He was our defensive player. He lost his son Jackson, Jackson, and that hit home. And when the reports were coming out and everything, it was just a horrific accident. And some of these NHLers who are playing now went through the ranks of junior hockey, and my condolences. And it's just sad that these young lives were just taken away, these up-and-coming stars, that these young guns that were going to be coming up in the NHL, and it's just sad.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it, but I mean, how many were killed in that?
There was 15.
15. I think there was somebody kind of hanging on barely, so evidently they made it. So 15. Yeah, that's horrible. That whole town is just like, they interview people in the town, and they're like walking around in a daze. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's only like 5,600 people that live in that town called Humboldt, but the Saturday night's game against the Blackhawks and Olympic Jets, when they circled around and they wore Broncos on their jerseys, that was excellent. That was really nice.
Yeah, they misidentified one of the players. I mean, there's been a lot of news stories that have been coming out of it. It's kind of been forgotten with all the kind of weird stuff going on at the national level. But you know what else we haven't talked about today is that Pittsburgh Pirates have one hell of a catcher, and he beat the hell out of the Cubs yesterday. Oh,
you mean Cervelli?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up with that? Didn't he have like 3 or 4 hits and 4 RBIs or something like that?
Yeah.
I guess I never really paid attention to him. Anyways.
And I like what Joe Mann had to say about him during his press conference, that, he was hitting the ball left to the right, and, and he would eject that one out. And, he was giving kudos to the Pittsburgh Pirates, how they were hitting the ball yesterday.
Well, are they going at it again today, Ryan? What time is that one at? Yeah, I think that's a day game. You know what? I'm going to go home, and I don't want anybody to call me this afternoon, because I want to go click back between Zuckerberg and the Cubs, and just, kind of a lot of good stuff on the television. Vinny, did you go to a movie recently?
No, you know what? Ryan and I were just talking about that. There was some Penguin. I told Ryan where I work at, and there was some Penguin fans that came in looking for shoes and everything. when they were going out on dates with their girlfriends and their wives, and they wore Penguin jerseys, and I was like, yeah. And one guy recognized me. He says, "Hey, you're from Pittsburgh." I was like, they said, "Well, yeah." I said, "I lived out there, for 8 years." And I said, "I've been a Penguins fan since I was a kid." So we gave each other a high five, and I told him, "Let's go Pens." And he said, "Yeah."
All right, man. All right, Vinny, good hearing from you. Thanks a lot. Hey, can you flash these Trump tweets up there? This is, we are living in an amazing time. And just so you guys know, I'm going to be doing this thing called JED in America. And I'm going to do them from time to time on Facebook and Twitter, YouTube, and maybe even some on the radio here. I really do believe there's historic things happening. And, my wife makes me watch this stuff, so I'm going to start doing these. I did one yesterday, and you guys seem to like it. I did it in the morning at like 5:30. So tomorrow I'll do another JED in America segment. And if some weird stuff happens, I might even do another one. But Russia vows to shoot. Here's Donald Trump's tweet, and I don't know what to do with this, but evidently this came out this morning. Russia vows to shoot down any and all missiles fired at Syria. Get ready, Russia, because they will be coming nice and new and smart. You shouldn't be partners with a gas-killing animal who kills his people and enjoys it. I'm going to read that again. Russia vows to shoot down any and all missiles fired at Syria. Get ready, Russia, because they will be coming nice and new and smart. You shouldn't be partners with a gas-killing animal who kills his people and enjoys it. With this kind of rhetoric, we've got to do something. And if we're going to start bombing and Russia's going to shoot down our bombs, we're basically at war with Russia at that point. And I don't judge anyone who says they don't want to watch this stuff or listen to it or hear about it because it's getting dangerous. And I understand that. But it's still our lives. And, I need to do something with this. And I don't know what it is because we need to digest it here at the local level. All you get is the people from Washington or New York or Atlanta telling you how it's going. And this is serious stuff. Now, is it a diversionary tactic from the fact that the president, has all the people around the president are kind of working with a special investigation? And is a special investigation where you can put a guy in as president and then the whole time he's there, you're just investigating everything he's basically ever done? Is that healthy either? I don't think it is. But it's tough right now, man. Unless you're really into this and you're just can't get enough of the confusion at the national level. Now it is getting to that point, as your mom used to say. It's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. And that's kind of what it looks like right now. Hey, you know what? We got a guy calling in from Indianapolis right now. Before we do that, I just want to give you the traffic. Once again, there is an accident on 294. If you're going to O'Hare, you got some time. You're going to sit on 294. Also, stay off the Bishop Ford's pretty bad this morning. Watch the Bishop Ford Steel Bridge all the way up into the southern end of the Dan Ryan. Other than that, it is a gorgeous day in the Calumet region, and it's going to be in the low 60s, so enjoy it. Let's talk to the Attorney General of the state of Indiana, Curtis Hill. Attorney General, how are you today?
I'm just fine, Jim. How are you?
You know what? We never get sunshine up here, so it just feels kind of weird,
Don't worry, it's coming.
All right. Hey, citizenship question planned for the 2020 census. I've heard a little bit about this, but there's kind of so much going on right now that we haven't really hit it. But people want it. Some people don't. Are you a citizen? Where do you stand on this thing?
Well, I think it's a naturally appropriate question for the census. The census is conducted every 10 years in order to gather information that will allow us to make decisions and planning. And certainly if you look at one of the foremost issues that we've had over the past few decades, the immigration policies of this country, whether you agree with them, don't agree with them, I think everybody understands that we need to do more to address these issues. And one of the data points is citizenship. And we have a group, I think 17 states and several municipalities and mayor's offices across the country have filed a suit against the U.S. Census Bureau suggesting that the question, are you a U.S. citizen, is unconstitutional. I think that's fundamentally flawed. Their suggestion, Jim, is that the question will strike fear into the hearts of foreigners in this country, making them not comply with the census. And I think that's a very exaggerated response. I certainly think that we've had that question in our census history before, and it's a highly appropriate question to ask if we're going to take a serious look at how we affect long-term immigration policy in this country.
Well, that's the argument that I've heard also, is that if you want a true measure of how many people are in America or in Indiana, you won't ask that question because a lot of people are going to say, hey, man, I'm not filling anything out where I have to say, no, I'm not a citizen. So now you're not going to get an accurate measure of who's really living in your state.
I've heard that argument. I've heard that argument as well, Jim, and I want you to consider something. The fact that you've answered no to the question of are you a U.S. citizen does not necessarily mean that you're undocumented or otherwise illegal. For example, folks who are here on work or student visas are not U.S. citizens, and yet they are here legally. So there are a myriad of ways to be in the country that you wouldn't qualify as a citizen, but you would be here legally. So simply answering that question, yes or no, doesn't send out the immigration police, and quite frankly, we don't have that type of resource. So I think it's a bit of a red herring to suggest that we don't have that issue, and we do need to understand the percentages of people. I mean, we've been floating around the numbers of people that are undocumented in this country for years, and we really don't know. We need to have accurate numbers. I say this, Jim, with a firm understanding and belief that immigration in this country has been fundamental to our success. Each generation of Americans has experienced and benefited from immigrants that have richened our history up to the current moment. So I'm not against immigration. I'm against silly efforts to suggest that we don't get information that can help us solve some of these problems. There's three big issues that we need for effective immigration policy in this country. One, we have to absolutely secure the borders. We can't have an accurate assessment of who's coming in or who's not or who's going out unless we have absolute border control. So that's number one. Number two, we have to have an effective new policy that encourages legal immigration. One of the best things that has happened to us over the decades is bringing people into this country who are looking for a better life, a better way up, who want to work hard and be a part of the American fabric. That's fundamental to who we are. And number three, we have to ultimately resolve the lingering issue of the 11 million or so undocumented people in this country and address, resolve, and finalize that particular issue.
What do you want to do with the 11 mil?
I think we have to recognize a couple of practical things. Practically speaking, the federal government is not in a position to round up 11 million people and send them anywhere. That's not going to happen. These folks have been here over the course of 30 years or plus. It would be a nightmarish proposal, outlandish expense, and the resolve is not there. So what we have to do is address the fact that 11 million people aren't going anywhere, divide them up into those who have committed atrocities in violation of this country and state's laws, identify those people and go after those people and make sure that we get them deported. For those who have been here working for a long period of time, who've been able to establish a firm cultural root in this country, we need to identify ways to identify them and bring them into the fold and out of the shadows and move them along in the process as a part of a long-standing immigration policy that encourages the growth and development of this country.
So I guess, this is a discussion that plays out in a lot of different venues, but you're asking in one venue to say, hey, we want everyone to fill out the census, and if you're not a citizen, we want you to tell us that honestly. And then at the same point, you're saying, well, we do need to round up people who are here illegally. So to some extent, it kind of proves the point that perhaps some aren't going to fill this out because they're afraid they're going to get deported.
Well, I think if you believe that the purpose of the census is to get the information and turn that into immigration, that might be a valid argument. There's no basis for that particular position in the terms of where the information goes and how it's utilized. In fact, there are rules that suggest that can't happen. So I think, again, that falls into the category of exaggerated response in terms of what the purpose of the census is. One could say the same thing. Think about some of the questions around the census. How much money do you make? That's not information that you necessarily want to give to people. Some people are squeamish about answering the questions about ethnicity or other personal information. The census itself is a very invasive questioning process designed to provide information, and part of that information goes to apportionment of representatives to Congress. It all has a constitutional balance, but there are some uncomfortable questions in there. So if we want to pick it apart and tear it apart and pick and choose, oh, gee, I don't like this question, I don't like that question, we can do that. Or if we want to believe in the system that says, let's provide this information because it's information that's not going to be used against us. It's information that can be used to enhance the Congress's ability to take action to favor us. It's a matter of how we choose to believe these our government and our Census Bureau is using this information. If it can be proven or established that are using it inappropriately, then we can take a look and revise it. But at this particular time, asking the question of, are you a U.S. citizen, in my view, does no harm to anyone who answers that question.
We're talking to the Attorney General of the state of Indiana, Curtis Hill, and as always, he's very candid. So let's go a little bit further with this. Now, just from looking at it from afar and kind of half falling asleep on the couch watching this, it looks like it's mostly 17 Democrats, Attorney Generals mostly, that are upset with the question coming on there. So there is a partisan part to this. Let's put that aside for a second. Honestly, it doesn't interest me that much as so. But what does interest me is the geographicalness of this. Let's look at the state of Indiana. So if you go through the state of Indiana and you do the census and everybody's got to answer the citizenship question, then my guess is that some of the people up here in Northwest Indiana aren't going to do the census, or they're going to lie on it. So are we going to get accurate representation of exactly how many people are up here in Lake County, where there is a disproportionate amount, perhaps, of people who are undocumented?
I think if you have people who encourage this type of belief and scare tactic to suggest to people not to cooperate, that's very possible. But it's also possible that you have inaccuracies in any census, because there are a number of people who over the years choose not to cooperate. It's not a perfect system by any stretch of the imagination. That being said, in your particular area, it's going to be a matter of what type of information that the folks get and what's been going on recently. And you mentioned the 17 states and others, and in the larger metropolitan areas. There has been this fanning of the flame, if you will, to suggest that we should ignore the laws that are in place. I am all in favor of anyone who wants to petition Congress to change the law to do so. That's the process that we undertake. But we're seeing a wave of cities and particularly elected officials who are attempting to thwart the laws that are in place now and suggest that we ignore those laws. That doesn't mean that we have to agree, but when we start ignoring the law, where do we draw the line? We can't get in a place where we see a law that we don't like and we ignore that, and we see a law that we do like and we want to propose that. That's a sure road to anarchy. So we've gotten away from the process, and part of it isn't really. I can't blame it all on my colleagues across the country or some of the municipalities, because the reality is Congress has dropped the ball on this. The federal government, Congress, is the culprit in our entire immigration issues, because there hasn't been appropriate and adequate leadership in moving these issues forward to appropriate resolutions. And I think both parties, all parties, get the blame for that. But at some point, we have to have cooler heads prevail and say not every potential threat is a real threat, and perhaps these are opportunities for us to come together and work together and use that information on the question of U.S. citizenship to develop a comprehensive program that is inclusive, that addresses the border, that addresses legal immigration, and provides some measure of objective relief to the issue of undocumented.
All right, so I'm going to put the challenge to you, okay? Because, I ride my bike around here. I married a Mexican gal. I know a lot of people, and I can talk to folks in the region, and I can tell when there's undocumented folks. And if, I do my hackneyed Spanish with them, and they'll finally talk to me, as, the white guy making sure I'm not a Fed or something, there's real fear that if they give up any information, even just talking to me, that someone's gonna pick them up in the middle of the night and take them away. So if what you're saying is if the scare tactics are out there and these people are scared, how do you combat that with some sort of educational campaign, or to let people know, hey, we just want to get accurate information, we want to know who is where, and we're not necessarily going to come and pick you up out in the middle of the night? How do you tell people that? How do you get rid of the fear?
Well, doing what we're doing now is talking about it openly and addressing when these lawsuits come out to fan that fear. Those of us who have a different point of view, who believe in the system, have to speak up and address those issues. It's an uphill battle, because I understand the mistrust that's out there, and why wouldn't these folks be mistrusting? This is an issue that's been percolating for how many decades now, Jim? I mean, it's getting ridiculous that we have people in this country for over 30 years, and one way or the other, whether they're to be deported or whether they're to be on a pathway to citizenship, whatever the person's or whatever your particular view is, we haven't done anything but allow the problem to continue. So I get it. I get the fact that people are untrusting. It's incumbent upon those of us, particularly on my side, to step up and start speaking a practical truth. We need to get rid of the rhetoric. As I said, you heard me say this earlier, there's 11 million or so undocumented people in this country who aren't going anywhere. There is no effective ability to bus up all these people to wherever they came from. So we really have to stop talking about that as a solution, because it's not a practical solution, and start talking about the types of solutions that we can pull off and that we can work. I think that will be a step in the right direction.
He is the Attorney General of the state of Indiana. I had like 3 or 4 topics here, but our time is up. Attorney General, as always, I really do appreciate you, just saying it like it is.
Well, Jim, I appreciate the opportunity. You take care, and believe me, the sunshine's coming, and I'll come up there one of these days and share it with you.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Talk to you.
Take care. Bye.
All right, guys. 7:30 in the Calumet region. I don't know how you guys think about this guy, but as a radio guy, you just want people that are going to talk to you and not give you a line. Sometimes you ask. I was kind of disappointed in how I interviewed the governor the other day, and that there's talking points sometimes that people want to get to, and if you ask them a question, they go right back to that talking point. For some reason, this guy, and I'll just call him a guy, this guy, the Attorney General, will actually answer your questions and talk to you, even though you may not really kind of agree with it or even think it's logical. Does that make sense? So to me, it's refreshing. I like talking to the guy. And I'll leave it at that. All right, guys, we're going to move on here. We've got some folks. We got Blake and Alex right after this.
Save the date, April 19th, for the 2018 Fair Housing Act's 50th Anniversary Celebration and Awards Reception, being held at the Center for Visual and Performing Arts in Munster from 3 to 8 p.m. At 3 p.m., there will be a continuing education class. From 5 to 6:30 p.m., enjoy a cocktail reception, and 6:30 to 8 p.m., program and awards. Tickets in advance are $35 or $45 at the door. A portion will go to NWIRA programs. That's April 19th from 3 to 8 p.m. Hosted by Lake County Housing Task Force and Bankers Community Council of NWIRA.
Do you have a family history of heart disease or diabetes? St. Catherine Hospital Cardiovascular Prevention Center providers are offering free assessments to help determine your risk for heart disease and other related medical conditions. On Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 9 to 11:30 a.m., you can stop by the center at 7217 Indianapolis Boulevard in Hammond for assessments like an ABI leg circulation test, blood pressure, body mass index, random glucose assessment, and more. You must be 18 or older, and walk-ins are welcome. You have only one body. Let St. Catherine Hospital of Community Healthcare System help you take care of it. You can also call 219-392-7CVP to book an appointment today.
All right. Pretty good. 7:33 in the Calumet region. That went a little longer, so I apologize to Blake and Alex. Just hold on for a sec. Let's take a look at traffic. 294 has actually gotten better early through that accident zone, which was at 87th. That's kind of cleared out, but you have some problems up further on, right past the Eisenhower. And so what happens is it opened up for you around Cicero and through 95th, but further on you've got some problems as you approach O'Hare. So it's not that long, but it'll certainly be another headache. 80 going east and west looks pretty good. The Bishop Ford and the merge there have been kind of tight all morning long. You can see it on the screen here. Starts a little bit after the Steel Bridge, but the Dan Ryan itself is kind of tight on the southern part of it. So allow extra time up the Bishop Ford and the Dan Ryan. But if you go up the Skyway Toll Road today, you'll be fine. But once you hit the Dan Ryan, it's going to be bad 47th on into Jane Burns. So everything coming into the city basically from all the directions, Dan Ryan, Kennedy, Eisenhower, Stevenson, all four of those main arteries going in. They're all really tight this morning going into the downtown area. Traffic brought to you by our good friends at Napleton River Oaks Honda in Lansing, and they're on Torrance. Don't forget you pay Indiana sales tax if you're from Indiana when you go over there. And what do you have in terms of the weather? We have a gorgeous morning. If you guys are watching on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, it is a gorgeous sunrise, and it's cold. It's 35 degrees. It's 37 degrees now here at the Strachan Van Til Studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest, going up to a high of 63. Thursday, a high of 70, nice with some clouds and sun. So you got 2 beautiful days. And then Friday it gets cloudy and some rain moves in. And then Saturday and Sunday it cools off quite a bit. And you get back to just being nasty, rainy, cold days. But we won't worry about that until Saturday and Sunday come along. If you got something to do today, get outside. After like 1 o'clock today, don't bother me. I'm going to get out and do some work in my own lawn. And then tonight, I want to let you guys know that we will be doing sports talk from 6 until 8. It will be my Purdue sports broadcasting students. They're starting to do their final project, and their final project is to come on the air on Mondays and Wednesdays from 6 until 8 and basically do their own hour-long sports talk shows. And if you guys are listening from 6 to 8, it helps if people call in during their shows. I know you're not necessarily used to having those shows at those times, but if you're driving around today or you're sitting in the garage or got it in the kitchen and you're listening to these young students, men and women, carry on the conversations and something piques your interest, call them and join into the conversation. They love it when somebody calls. Oh, my God, we got a call. So it's like a big ordeal. We got a call. So they'll be on. One crew will go from 6 until 7 tonight, and then the other one will go from 7 until 8. Hey, man, you guys know where we're at. We're on the Purdue Commercialization Center. We love new ideas. Sam Michael will be hosting 1 Million Cups today, as it is Wednesday, and you are all welcome to come to this. I used to host it, and I will pick some up over the summer, but I am in the middle of my own MBA program where I'm studying for it, and I'm also teaching, so I had to hand that off to Sam, and he's done a great job. But ultimately, we're always just looking for new ideas, and we're trying to create the venture capital community for Northwest Indiana, centered right here in the Purdue Northwest Commercialization Center. But I'll tell you what, there's a couple of young men here that have come up with some pretty good ideas, and one of them is very close to my heart. And now that I don't eat gluten, believe it or not. And this is Blake Sorensen and Alex. And Alex, you're going to tell me how to say your last name.
Yeah, no problem, Jim. Hey, it's Marion.
Marion. Okay, Alex Marion and Blake Sorensen. Hey, congratulations on on your Kickstarter campaign and on your Blake's Nut Free bars. This is pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Jim. And it's also kind of a tall order following the Attorney General, so we'll try to do our best here.
Yeah, just ask him. He'll tell you that, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, all right, one of you guys is from around here, right? Which one?
Yeah, that's me, Jim. So I'm actually from Lansing, grew up in Lansing, went to high school at St. Ignatius downtown Chicago. Then did my undergrad at IU down in Bloomington. And then since before coming back to do my MBA, I was actually living in downtown Chicago, working in advertising for 6 years. And now my second year of my MBA, graduating this May.
All right, so you're Blake, right?
I'm Alex.
All right, Alex Marion. You grew up in Lansing, and I passed TF South to go to St. Ignatius. That's what happened, right?
Yeah, that was the situation.
Yeah, that I'm not criticizing it because I actually lived near St. Ignatius for a while when I lived downtown, and it's a pretty cool place, and I know what you're talking about. So, so you go to Kelly, and is that where you meet Blake?
Yeah. So Blake and I met last year, and the idea started out of an entrepreneurship class. Was where I met Blake and found out about the idea, and he has the nut allergy, and he can speak more about that. But realizing there was a need for a product like this, we hit the ground running.
Hey Blake, tell us about your allergy.
Yeah, so I have a deathly nut allergy. I have to carry an EpiPen everywhere I go, and it's really affects me every day of my life. I'm the guy that's sitting at the table that by himself because he can't eat nuts. I have to read every label. So that's what really sparked the idea. I just became frustrated by the lack of snacks and the lack of foods I can eat. And from there, Alex and I kind of got to work and started making snacks in our kitchen, and the idea was sparked right there.
All right, tell people what the product is.
So the company is called Blake's Nut Free. Our first product is a all-natural protein bar made in a certified nut-free facility, certified nut-free facility for you, or certified gluten-free facility. And then we're launching a snack bar this summer, and then we're launching a trail mix in January of 2019.
Right, I'm looking at the bar here. You got lemon berry, you got dark chocolate banana, and you've got apple ginger. What does lemon berry taste like? I mean, you get these protein bars, and I eat protein bars too because you don't want to go in as much as I like Snickers. You need your protein. What do you got? 10 grams of protein in here. They can be kind of sawdusty. Do you have that taste?
No, that's one of the things that sets our bars apart. So we use egg whites as our protein source, and that kind of eliminates that sawdust texture that people are used to with protein bars. So I feel like we have a really good product there. And then it was kind of a funny story. We did something with Pat McAfee, former Colts punter. He's got a radio station down in Indianapolis, and he thought that they tasted like Fruity Pebbles. So all your listeners out there that like Fruity Pebbles is this breakfast cereal, but no, it's not that healthy of a product. We can get the best of both worlds with our lemon berry bar.
So where can people get these?
So you can order on our website right now, blakesnutfree.com.
Okay, blakesnutfree.com. So you're not in retail locations yet?
Not yet. We are going to stay online for a while and then, have some different strategies. But the company is about 90 days old, so things are going really well. We've actually been turning down some retailers. But, yeah, right now just online.
All right, let's talk about that strategy. And we get retailers in here all the time, and we host these sessions and stuff, so it's every week. And sometimes people want to stay online, at least in their infancy. Tell us why that might be an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what's happening in the market right now with Amazon and just the whole direct-to-consumer, one, it's so simple for the customers right now just to order online. And then, from a business perspective, you get to keep your margins. When you start dealing with retailers, you get to deal with distributors and couponing and awareness. So we've just found it's a simple way, and our customers have been demanding it, so that we've stuck with it so far.
Okay, so why the gluten-free part of it?
So that's just our whole mission is just to kind of provide these inclusive snacks, and right now this bar is actually in top 8 free besides the egg. And our next bars are going to be completely top 8. And our whole point here is to provide snacks that, meet the needs of people with food allergies, but also, satisfy people that don't have food allergies, their needs as well. Like, I don't have a food allergy, and this is something that I, enjoy every morning for breakfast. It's something that, it's healthy and it tastes good. So we kind of just wanted to make a snack for everyone to enjoy.
I tell people I've been eating pizza and brownies and bread for all these years, and my stomach's been bad for like 30 years, and I quit eating gluten, and I'm like a new person. I don't necessarily talk about it that much on the air. As a matter of fact, I don't mention it very much at all. But when it does come up, every once in a while I'll run into somebody else who's like, you know what, that happened to me. I don't eat gluten anymore. They took a test, and they did some blood work, and next thing you know, I don't eat it, and my life has kind of changed. And then you go into restaurants and everything's GF or not, doesn't have the GF. I mean, it's kind of weird how this has come on, and you guys are making a product that kind of fits into the change in people's eating habits. And go ahead, comment on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big thing is that there's almost a stigma around, like you said, Jim, around the gluten-free and around the nut-free. So we're trying to change that rhetoric and say that, listen, we might be free from these top 8 allergens and we're gluten-free, but we can still make products that taste great, that are seed-based. And we've seen great demand from the market so far with that method.
Cranert versus Kelly. Which one's better?
Got to go with Kelly. I have 2 degrees from Kelly, so where my allegiance stands.
All right, I just had to throw that in. Ryan's like, I'm like, okay, let's talk to these guys. He goes, man, they went to IU, they went to Kelly. And I'm like, that's supposed to impress me? We're on the campus of Purdue Northwest here. I'm working on my own MBA over here at Purdue Northwest. But you know what? I use Kelly School of Business. Complete kudos to you guys for getting through there.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, guys. Anything else you want to tell people about this product? So they go to Blake's Nut Free, and one of the guys is local here, and Marion, and Alex Marion. Alex, you still living in Chicago, or where are you now these days?
So we live down in Bloomington, Indiana. We're going to the full-time MBA program.
Oh, it is full. It's a full-time pro. You're in the full-time. Okay, all right.
Yeah. My parents are up in, they moved over to Munster, so the typical move that everyone is living in, southeast suburbs of Illinois, moving over to Northwest Indiana.
Well, welcome to the correct side, but you do realize that both you and your parents are fibs, right? Do you know what that is? Don't say it on the air. Don't say it. Don't say it. Okay, just whatever. Hey, man, good work. Keep us updated on this stuff, and we'd love to have you guys. If you're ever up here on a Wednesday, they do the presentations. You can watch them on Facebook, and the Mont Hanley here that runs the Commercialization Center would love to have you guys present here and just tell people about it, and you never know who's going to hear it or see the video and maybe give you some business in some way. All right? So it's an open invitation.
Thanks, Jim. We got samples coming your way today.
All right, man. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thanks.
See you guys. 746 in the Calumet region. We talked to Men in Business School. Let's talk about Men in Kilts. What do you think?
Men in Kilts is back. The Lake County Sheriff's Department Pipes and Drums annual fundraiser is Saturday, April 21st from 5 to 10 p.m. at the 4-H building, Lake County Fairgrounds. Featuring bagpipers, Irish dancers, silent auctions, and other entertainment. Tickets are $10 at the door, which includes your food and beverage. Come out and support this family-friendly event as we raise funds to honor our fallen brothers and sisters who have given their lives in the line of duty. That's Saturday, April 21st. Kids are welcome. For more information, see our Facebook page, Men in Kilts 2018.
Rush Radiosurgery deploys revolutionary technology in the fight against prostate cancer in just 5 outpatient treatments. With radiosurgery treatment for prostate cancer, there is no pain, no surgery, and you can go back to your normal activities right after treatment. Prostate cancer does not fight fair, and neither should you. For more information, contact Rush Radiosurgery at 312-942-4600 or visit us at rushradiosurgery.com.
No case is typical. Results will vary by patient, and there's no guarantee other patients will experience these results.
ARW Pro Wrestling, the best in the Midwest, returns to Morton High School in Hammond, Indiana. Max Holiday teams with Ivan Manson to face Old School Manson and Drex Odell. Mr. M80 Marche Rocket versus the Dark Horse, Nick Cutler. Greg Glover takes on Anthony Totelli. Moxie Molly meets Stacy Shadows for the first time. Aggravated Assault butts heads with the Machine and Johnny Showtime. And in a three-way dance, Excalibur versus Dave Allen versus Theo Storm. All the titles are on the line. Saturday, April 14th. This is a fundraiser for marching band uniforms. Doors open at 6 p.m. Showtime 7 p.m. ARW Pro, the best in the Midwest. Morton High School, Hammond, Indiana. Saturday, April 14th. All the action, all the excitement, and everything you'd expect from ARW Pro.
What are you guys doing Friday? Is it Friday? Yeah, I think it's Friday. There's an open house for Corellis Roofing. Corellis backwards is Sillarock, and they got a pretty nice new facility. I've had the pleasure of going over there a few times and hanging out with Jeff Tharp. And does it happen every time I see him that he reminds me that he was Times Athlete of the Year? Maybe like every other time. But hey, the open house is coming up.
On Friday, April 13th, Corellis Roofing is hosting a career open house for experienced commercial roofers. Take a tour of their office, yard, game room, and their new on-site training center. Qualified candidates will receive on-the-spot interviews. At Corellis, roofing is more than a seasonal job. It's a full-time career with many benefits. Don't miss the opportunity to visit them at 1333 169th Street in Hammond on Friday, April 13th from 3 to 5 p.m. Learn more at Corellis.com.
You know, Corellis Roofing is really grown over the years, and to do all these roofs around the state of Indiana, they do the car plant down in Lafayette, they do universities, schools, mills, that kind of stuff. You gotta have roofers, and you can make some pretty good money doing that. And you can go to this open house on Friday and check it out. They took over the facility. What is that? 169th. It used to be the Purdue something or other. It used to be the old Calumet Construction. If you guys have been around a long time, I was talking with like Mirko Maric and Pete Naw and some of these other Hammond businessmen, and I grew up in Hammond and in Munster, and my dad was always like one of these Hammond businessmen. He was a Hammond JC, so I got to know a lot of Vierik's furniture. My dad would want to go with Vern Vierik to have a couple pops over here on Kennedy Avenue. So he and my uncle Dwayne would take me and my cousin David and Dwayne and some of the other kids, and they'd drop us off at Vierik's Furniture. And they'd say, you guys can't leave the store. And even though it was open, Vierik would let us play hide and seek in his furniture place. And then my dad and my Uncle Dwayne and Vern Vierik would go to the local watering hole on the corner, and they'd come back in an hour, and they'd be in really good moods. And we would have broken something, always breaking something in Vern Vierik's Hessville Furniture, whatever it was. And then I realized one day, I looked around, and I'm talking to Pete Naw of Hammond Machine Works and like Brian Beatty over here, Beatty Machining, and I'm like, guys, we're like the older Hammond businessmen now. Mirko Maric joins it, Mark Kiernan over here at Calumet Breweries, and I don't know how that happened, but Pete Corellis is one of them, so is Jeff Tharp over there. And I just wanted to be like the young Hammond businessman forever instead of like one of the old guys. Anyways, I don't know if that makes any sense to you or not. But that's how it is. Corrales needs roofers, and go to the open house on Friday. All right, let's take a look at what's going on in traffic. 294 is bad. Ah! No! Don't do it, man. Because if you got to go to O'Hare right now, I feel for you. I feel like reaching through that dashboard radio or through your phone and just giving you a little back rub because you need it. If you're going to O'Hare and you've got a plane to catch, you should have left a long time ago. Took my sister to O'Hare the other day, and she had a 6 o'clock flight. And she's like, all right, let's leave at like 3:45. And I go, so you have a 6 o'clock flight and you want to leave at 3:45. Do you realize that on 294, it can get bad at any point, anytime, any day, even in the middle of the night? I go, we are leaving at 3 a.m. and not a minute later. Oh my gosh, you're so over-exaggerating. Well, of course, we got in the car, 2:58. I'm sitting there. She comes out at 3:01. And again, as soon as I start, we go. And we get to O'Hare in like 43 minutes. And she's like, well, what am I going to do for all this time now? I'm like, well, you're going to make your flight. That's for sure. But it could have gone another way. It could be like right now, where it's probably going to take you well over an hour to get to O'Hare, maybe an hour and 20 minutes or so, depending on if it opens up. But it's bad from Cicero all the way up almost to O'Hare. So you want to live that life where you're like, oh my gosh, am I going to make my flight? Am I going to make my flight? And I got to pee. So anyways, if you're in that stressful situation, here, take a cleansing breath. Out through your mouth. They call it a lion's breath. In through your nose. Stick your tongue out. There it is. You've just cleansed your innards. Your steering wheel stinks right now, but you feel better. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford. And that ain't no. You need a lion's breath on that, too, as Jimmy Mulaney throws it up on the screen. We're trying to make it a more visual experience for you. And let's say from 115th all the way up, and stop and go up into the city. So good luck with that. Even if you take the Skyway toll road, which are wide open, it's still bad from 55th on in. Hey, on the Indiana side, you could drive anywhere, really, except for Indianapolis Boulevard between Meyer and Webford and Highland. Other than that, everything's open on the Indiana side. Traffic brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda. Let's take a look at what you have in terms of the weather. Beautiful day out. It looks nice. If you're just sitting in your kitchen and you walk out, it's still pretty brisk, as it's still hanging out at about 36, 37 degrees, but it's sunny and it's beautiful, and it's going to get a lot warmer this afternoon. You're going to get into the mid-60s, partly sunny and breezy. Times of clouds, time of sun, but really altogether a pretty nice day. Same thing tomorrow, nice with clouds and sun, and a high of 70. That changes quite a bit on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You know, I have about 5 minutes left, and I'm really kind of looking forward to throwing my headset down and sitting. I'll be sitting at a counter at one of the local Greek restaurants by about 8:07, and I'll be reading the sports section. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. So I just want to hear from you. How you guys doing today? I've got 5 minutes to blow, and you're going to help me do it. And one of the people right now is Bill on line one. Hi, Bill. How are you?
2 points. You stimulated a great Hammond memory. This is 1960 or 61. My dad and a fellow attorney, Fred Malo Sr., that was ultimately moved to Munster. I think I was 8 years old. They would take me and Fred Malo Jr. for swim lessons at the Hammond Civic Center, taught by Nick Powell. Now, Fred Malo Jr. was born without a left foot, and he had a prosthesis. And he was so tough, he went on to play basketball for Munster. But just like after the swim lessons, they'd take us to Dietrich's Ice Cream, and it would be ice cream and licorice buttons, and you probably were there.
God, as a little kid, I haven't really thought about that place in ages.
Oh, yeah. Because there was Dietrich's Ice Cream or Unique Donuts. You remember that place.
I just remember the ice cream. You know,
it was we'd go there with my two brothers sometimes, but it was, it used to be where Verona Pizza is now, where right across from Oak Hill Cemetery.
Really? I just remember it. I can't remember where it was. There is, do you remember Quickie Snack?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Quickie Snack was, I don't know if it was a train car or a trailer or something. Yeah. It was basically where St. Margaret Hospital's
right in front of it.
Right in front of it. And somebody wrote a song recently about Quickie Snack, and it's getting some play. It's like a blues song.
I wrote one about Hillary Clinton. I hope that one gets some play, called whatever it was. But there's one other Hammond memory that haunts me. I played Little League Baseball for the Edison Pirates. We played the Hessville Sox in 1963 for the city championship. Bobby Wilhelm of the Wilhelm family was on second base. Glenn Murray was on third we had the two winning ones on, and I made the last out, and I still apologize for that.
Well, it's only been 55 years, so maybe in your 56th or 57th year of the grief of this, you'll forgive yourself.
I'm less forgiving than my spouse.
You got it, man. Thanks a lot. Talk to you. 7:58 in the Calumet region. I don't know what's going to happen today, but Debbie Wargo, station manager, is texting me that I need to come in and get some work done. And I don't know if that's going to happen, Debbie, because I want to watch Zuckerberg talk today in his testimony. Maybe somebody will actually ask him some meaningful questions about how he should be regulated so that the Russians don't control our elections, and that you can even the playing field with radio and television, although nobody seems to care about that. And then also the Cubs play the Pirates, and then it'll kind of be interesting to see how it plays out with this chess game between the U.S. and Russia. Looks like we're getting ready to bomb Syria. That's what the rhetoric says, but Donald Trump tweets this morning, our relationship with Russia is worse now than it has ever been, and that includes the Cold War. There is no reason for this. Russia needs to help us with their economy, something that would be very easy to do, and we need all nations to work together. Stop the arms race. Donald Trump also tweeting, Russia vows to shoot down any and all missiles fired at Syria. Get ready, Russia, because they will be coming. Nice and new and smart. You shouldn't be partners with a gas-killing animal who kills his people and enjoys it. Get ready, Russia. Get ready, Russia. Get ready, Russia. How would you say that to sound convincing? Get ready, Russia. Get ready, Russia. Hey, baby, how you doing? Get ready, Russia. How about, hey, man, get ready, Russia? How else could you say it like? You could say it like guys in EC say when they haven't seen you in a while and they want to give you a hug. They go, hey, man, how you been doing? Hey, man, how you been doing? So it'd be like, get ready, Russia! Get ready, Russia! Everybody practice. All you people caught in traffic on 294 and on the Bishop Ford, let's try it. Get ready, Russia! Get ready, Russia. Hey, man, get ready, Russia! We're coming! Does that make you feel good? Does that give you the warm and fuzzy? Some of you older folks that remember Vierix Hessville Furniture lived through the Cold War. You remember getting under your desk just in case we get bombed to smithereens somewhere, and maybe, just maybe, by being under your desk, you will avoid the radiation and not get bombed. And I remember when I was a little kid, we used to do that, going under the desks at St. Thomas More. And you don't realize it once you get under the desk. You look up and there's all those little pieces of gum. And you're like, who is chewing this much gum and putting it on the bottom of desks? You know what I mean? And you realize the rest of your life, you're like, I'm never going to take a piece of gum and put it underneath a table or a desk. But then you go under because you got to worry about nuclear bombs and the Cold War. And then you just sit down there like time after time. Oh, we're going to do it for 20 minutes. And then you're counting the pieces of gum on the underside of the desk. And you don't realize that 50 years later, you're going to be sitting on a radio station talking about, get ready, Russia! I don't know. A lot of stuff going on. Let's see what happens. Tomorrow morning, I'll do JED in America, like 5:20 or 5:30. And I'll just talk about what's going on in the world. And we'll just try to digest it at the local level. But right now comes Dave Kuziak and Matt Reardon. They've got Larry Veracco of the Lake Central School Board, and they've got Spike from Spike's Lakeside Inn. Don't forget, tonight from 6 to 8, I will be doing the sports broadcasting class, and I would very much like you guys to call my students if you're driving around. I'd appreciate it. All right, guys, I'm out. Kuziak, Reardon in with Veracco and Spike, and thanks for listening. Get ready, Russia!